mornings at 7. We are streaming live exclusively right now on WFMY Plus. I'm Megan Balearis.
And I'm Lauren Coleman. So much to get into, but first we've got to talk about this forecast. We're joined by meteorologist Ed Matthews. Life is good.
LG, you got it. It is definitely good. It's going to be a great day. Now this morning, you may encounter a sprinkle. We're seeing a little activity on the radar, but it's very, very light, and it's zipping through the Piedmont really pretty quickly. And I expect over the next hour or so, these light showers and sprinkles will be east of our area. Temperatures this morning are looking A-OK. We're into the mild 50s, 55 in Greensboro. We're at 57 in Winston-Salem, 55 at High Point, 57 in Asheboro, Lexington at 55. And it's 52 degrees. That's the temperature over at Wilkesboro. So starting out with a little extra cloud cover and a stray shower this morning, but those move on out, and we'll see in general a partly sunny sky and warming up. Our standing record is 78. And we're forecasting a high of 81 later today. We'll look ahead in the Triad 7-day forecast. We could see some widespread rain and gusty winds on Thursday morning. We'll check that out coming up in just a minute.
All right, there are several wrecks starting to pop up as we get into the 7 o'clock rush hour. Let's start with a few here. We'll begin in Winston-Salem, where we notice that there is a wreck on 52 heading northbound between South Main Street and Clemensville Road. Let's go down toward Asheboro now, where there is a wreck in Sawyersville on US 64 between Sawyersville Road and Spencer Meadow Road, not far from Back Creek Road. Over in Alamance County, there is a wreck in Nolan right on I-85, I-40 eastbound at Maple Avenue. That's where it intersects NC-49 at exit 145. Drive times Winston to Greensboro, not bad, all things considered. 25 minutes down 421, a 22-minute ride if you take I-40 instead. Leaving Kernersville to Greensboro now, a 9-minute ride down 40 to Wendover, 10 minutes down 40 to 311.
Drivers at Greensboro should plan for delays today along Battleground Avenue. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. crews will close the center lane and the 2300 block while work is underway, reducing traffic to one lane in each direction through the work zone. City officials say the schedule could change depending on weather or operational needs. Drivers can find updates and sign up for alerts about street projects on the City of Greensboro's website.
Later this morning, 20-year-old Brian Castillo will be back in court facing a judge. He is accused of driving more than 100 miles an hour, resulting in a crash that killed Forsyth County Deputy Caleb Mitchell this weekend. Castillo is currently in jail without bond, facing a second-degree murder charge. That is an upgraded charge from what we first reported yesterday. Right now, there is a growing memorial outside the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office. As you see, people have laid flowers and notes.
Very sad day for the people of Forsyth County. Very sad day for our law enforcement brothers and sisters. Sheriff Kimbrough, my office has been really upset about the things that have happened in this community over the course of the weekend.
Mitchell was 24 when he died. He leaves behind a pregnant wife and their 2-year-old child. Mitchell grew up in Stokes County and went to Stokes County High School, where he was on the wrestling team from 2016 to 2020. In a Facebook post, the team said he was an unbelievable teammate.
A driver going more than 100 miles per hour sounds shocking, but law enforcement says it happens way too often.
2 Wants to Know's Ben Briscoe investigates the speeding problem.
The death of Deputy Caleb Mitchell puts a public face on a frightening statistic. The most recent information shows more than 400 people die in North Carolina every year because someone was driving too fast.
The individual charged here is charged with driving in excess of 100 miles per hour on the roads here in Forsyth County. That's an abandonment of the social obligation we hold to one another.
Just last week, High Point Police and the Greensboro Police both cracked down after complaints from neighbors. On Randleman Road in Greensboro, police caught 30 people speeding. One driver was going 70 miles per hour in their 35. High Point police officers caught 58 people along US 29 at Baker Road. One driver even going 101 miles per hour in a 55 zone. 2 Months Now found state records showing extra enforcement is starting to make a difference. The number of people caught speeding has slightly slowed down over the past 4 years. But still, about 1 in 17 drivers gets a speeding ticket every year.
State lawmakers are looking at putting up cameras to catch speeders. The General Assembly approved the idea of them in school zones, but the state is still trying to figure out which device to use. In the meantime, if there is a road in which you are concerned about speeding, Greensboro police want to hear from you. You can file a report using 336-373-SLOW.
Someone shot and killed a 14-year-old girl in Graham over the weekend. Police responded to Burton Street just before 7 p.m. on Saturday. Officers say another child is responsible, but they're not releasing the identities of anyone involved just yet. It is not clear whether police will file any charges.
Several agencies have collaborated to make a major drug bust in Guilford County. Guadalupe Rodriguez is accused of having 8 kilos of cocaine. It has a street value of up to $1 million. He's facing several charges and is in jail on $1 million bond. The Guilford County Narcotics Task Force made the bust. This week is a big one in the tight state Senate race between Republicans Sam Page and Phil Berger. Page is up by 23 votes after last Friday's provisional ballot count. Thursday is the deadline for military ballots from overseas. Counties statewide will then certify the final results the following day. If the final margin is still less than 1%, the trailing candidate can request a recount. A recount must be finished before the state board meets to certify results March 25th.
Another Triad County is rolling out property reevaluations this morning. Guilford County sent them out a few weeks ago. Now Davidson County is doing the same. At Monday's Board of Commissioners meeting, lots of people shared their disapproval with the skyrocketing values.
The property tax reevaluation. Have you all lost your minds?
Without pulling any punches, I'll say this. First, there is not one property owner in Davidson County that is not red in the face furious with these absurd tax evaluations. Just as the DMV does, all these reevaluations are for properties that are clean retail, ready for top dollar, put on the market.
Just like Guilford County, commissioners in Davidson County must still set the tax rate, which could help offset the burden. The board will make that determination in June. Instructions on how to appeal to your property value are included in the assessment notice. Another reason people are so upset about the potential tax hike, commissioners approved contracts for a $65 million sports complex. The sports complex in Southmont area is expected to have soccer and baseball fields and a water park.
The Randolph County Schools Board heard opinions last night about the potential closure of Uwharrie Ridge 6 through 12 school. It's a big talking point in Randolph County right now. The district said closing the school at the end of the school year would save more than $1 million. District leaders say enrollment is declining, but some students and parents are still trying to stop its closure.
My daughter has flourished at Uwharrie Ridge because of its size. The smaller class sizes have allowed her to grow emotionally and academically in ways larger schools simply can't allow. We are talking about students, not just a line item in a budget.
District leaders also blame academic performance for its potential closure. A report showed the school has repeatedly been considered low performing. The board will decide whether to close Uwharrie Ridge next week.
Part of North Davie Street downtown will remain closed as crews work to tear down the old Davie Street parking deck. This process could take months. City leaders say the work should wrap up by Saturday, June 6. Downtown Greensboro Incorporated says a 7-story apartment complex will be built in its place. The new units will help the city reach its goal to build 10,000 homes by 2030. Retail and restaurant space will be on the ground floor. And Voss Avenue is now closed from Summit to Cody Avenue in the northeast part of the city. It's not expected to reopen until mid-July.
A little rain on the radar this morning. We've got some moving right through the Metro Triad, but it's very light, a stray shower or sprinkle, but it's tracking to the east pretty quickly, and we're going to see really a good bit of sunshine and very warm temperatures today. I've got your full forecast coming up. Good morning, Piedmont Triad. 11 minutes coming up on 12 minutes after 7. Lunch hour outdoors today. Does that sound like a good plan? Well, the weather is going to be great. I think around lunchtime we'll be at least in the mid 70s, on our way to the low 80s as we head through the afternoon. As a matter of fact, it's going to be so warm, I think our current record of 78 for today is in jeopardy. Yeah, we have every opportunity to set a new record high today as a warm front lifts north of our area. High pressure off the Florida-Georgia coast, giving us a pretty light southwesterly wind. But you combine that with the sunshine and boy, we've got some really spring-like weather. And tomorrow will even be a few degrees warmer, about 84, 85. Now, our standing record for tomorrow is 86, so it may be in jeopardy. The only difference tomorrow is that we're really going to start to see some clouds build out ahead of an approaching cold front that will move into our area late Wednesday night and during the day on Thursday. And that's the reason that we have a weather impact alert for Thursday morning, is because we're likely going to have some pockets of heavy rain, ponding water on the streets and highways, and also maybe a few thunderstorms mixed in early. And then that activity will move on to the east, and I think we'll see clearing on Thursday afternoon. That's going to set the stage for quiet weather for Friday, right on through Saturday and Sunday. Good looking weekend for all of your outdoor plans, but the next weather system will move in on Monday, and that's going to bring a pretty good shot of rain for our part of the Piedmont. But behind that cold front, boy, the floodgates are going to be open for some very cold air to work into the Piedmont right around St. Patrick's Day, the 17th, which is on Tuesday. As a matter of fact, we could have some morning lows down into the 20s by that time. And our extended temperature outlook suggesting that much of the eastern part of the United States from the 16th through the 20th will experience below normal temperatures. That's not the case today. It's going to be great. 81 for the high. Overnight tonight, it'll be mainly clear. Lows only drop into the warm lower 60s. And then tomorrow, a partly cloudy, windy day. Those winds start to pick up. Maybe a 30-mile-per-hour wind gust on Wednesday with a high of 84. Thursday, we're going to watch things very closely. Make sure you tune in for a rainy commute and some heavy downpours and some potential for thunder and lightning and gusty winds. Then we'll clear it out. Friday looks great. The weekend warming back into the low 70s.
All right, so we did it. We changed the clocks. Good, bad, who cares? It's not up for us to decide. What I'm here to tell you is what it looks like from here. You may or may not realize it, but this is the time of year that we gain the most daylight very rapidly. Not in the summer, it's the spring, and especially the early spring, like where we are right now. From the late winter to the early spring, you're gaining a lot of daylight. You're gaining over 2 minutes of daylight per day, actually. So let's take a look here. Right now, we have about 11 hours and 45 minutes for a day. Fast forward 2 weeks, it'll already be a half hour longer. In about a month, it's an hour longer. Beyond that, it's an hour and a half longer. You get the idea. We are going to see longer days, keep on getting longer until the first day of summer, and that's at the end of June. So what does it look like? Well, 8 o'clock sunset's only 6 weeks away. 7:30 sunsets, 2 weeks away. And on the sunrise side of things, they're pretty dark right now, but they'll be back before 7 a.m. in just about 4 weeks. So whatever you feel about the time change, this is where we're going. Very bright days ahead.
Tens of thousands of dollars paid and families demanding answers. Several local homeowners say they trusted a contractor with major renovations, but he never finished the work. 2 Wants to Know's Kevin Kennedy has their stories and even tracked down the contractor to get his side of the story.
Sometimes the answer to a problem lies below the surface. For Penny Spencer, her answer's tucked in a dark and cramped crawl space.
I just plugged up the hole there and it trying to pull out moisture.
Water from the ground wreaking havoc, support beams rotting, insulation falling, and insurance claim filed.
Within 2 days, I had that contractor hired to do this, jack up my floor, replace all the rotten wood.
Penny hiring this man, Larry Kendall Johnson.
He is such a smooth talker. And, you know, I trusted him.
The $17,000 job included new floor joist and supports under the home, install a vapor barrier, replace the subflooring, and install new laminate.
He said, I'll get that fixed, no problem.
Penny soon discovering there was a problem, a big one. Much of the work Johnson did not passing inspection.
There was boards cracked and hanging. It was cracked all the way through. There was rot everywhere.
This is what it looked like. Wood supports dangling, cut 2x4 stacked on cinder block supports.
When I went up there and touched it, there was no weight bearing on those. It wasn't supporting anything.
Like a giant Jenga stack, it offers little support, which explains why the floor isn't level.
We don't have family functions here because we can't put weight on our floor, and there's 13 of us.
Penny filing and winning a civil complaint with the courts. Johnson ordered to pay $10,000. Penny has yet to see a dime.
He never responded. He ghosted me after that.
Not far from Penny's house in Randolph County is the home of Leonard and Kelly Thorpe.
How it's peeling, it's busted.
Last April, they hired a contractor to renovate the home. That contractor, Larry Kendall Johnson.
At the beginning, everything looked fine because it wasn't him doing the work. It was subcontracted out for the footing, the foundation.
10 months later, the job's still not done.
I know better, I knew better, but I just trusted him.
The couple paid Johnson more than $100,000. And just like Penny, much of the work done either didn't pass inspection or is riddled with issues.
It's a disaster.
Has to be redone.
Completely redone.
Walk the property and you can see problem after problem after problem.
You walk in my house and it's a tornado has gone through it.
The living room left in shambles. The main addition framed, but that's about it. And the bathroom, oh my. After 7 months of promises and problems, Leonard and Kelly file a complaint with the district attorney and North Carolina Licensing Board of General Contractors.
He's not only done this to me, but he's done this to multiple people in Randolph County.
These cases just part of a bigger investigation. There are more customers all claiming Larry Kendall Johnson ripped them off.
He assured me, oh, nothing to worry about. Don't worry, I'll take care of it.
Ray Isley and his daughter Jill renovating the old home. Almost $133,000 paid. And just like the others, delays and excuses were the norm.
He's done this so many times, like, I don't know how he sleeps at night.
Ray and Jill also seeking legal action, filing a complaint with the licensing board.
I found out he wasn't even qualified to be he was not a contractor.
Johnson is not a licensed contractor in North Carolina, which means he can't do work for more than $40,000.
Hard to not feel, angry about the whole situation.
Pam Jarrell hired Johnson last March. Most of her job completed, but not all of it.
He kept telling me he would get it done. I promise it'll be done here. I promise it'll be done by this day.
Pam paying around $30,000, sending hundreds of texts asking Johnson when he will finish.
I hate to say it. I think he's a con artist.
Pam hasn't heard from Johnson in months. Her window not finished and not what she wanted.
I would love for something to be done to where he couldn't do anybody else the way that we've been done.
All 4 cases have one thing in common. Johnson failed to finish any job and has yet to refund any money. So we tracked him down and asked him.
If there's a difference in what they paid and what they got, then I owe them that, and I'll do my best to get it squared up with them.
If it sounds a bit like another wasted promise, it just might be. A day after this interview, I emailed Johnson asking he send copies of all the contracts and a detailed account of the work completed and an amount he's willing to refund. I sent a follow-up 2 weeks later. I have yet to hear back.
I mean, I can't make this up.
As for these families, they want answers, their money, and justice.
Well, be sure to tune in to WFMY News 2 tonight at 11 for Kevin Kennedy's follow-up story. We'll hear more from Johnson and learn what's being done to stop him.
Another mild morning in the Piedmont. Beautiful, but we do have some extra clouds. Morning lows only dipping in, for the most part, mid and upper 50s. Some of our areas right along the Virginia border going into the upper 40s this morning. We zoom in on these numbers so I can read them. 47 at Danville, 54 in the Triad, 62 the low in Charlotte, 42 at Boone, and 52 over at Raleigh-Durham. We've had a few sprinkles this morning, but really no measurable rainfall, and we take a live look over Winston-Salem, seeing a good bit of cloud cover now, but as those sprinkles move east of the Triad, we'll see more in the way of sunshine and could set a brand new record high today. Standing record 78, we're forecasting 81. It'll be mainly clear and warm, only dropping into the lower 60s tonight. We'll check out the Triad 7-day forecast coming up.
I'm Lauren Coleman with a check of the day's top stories. The 2300 block of Battleground Avenue will be closed today while crews work in the area. Leaders say the center lane will be closed and traffic will be reduced to one lane in each direction. That is going to be north and southbound through the work zone. Work is expected to happen from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. today. Plus, part of North Davie Street downtown will remain closed to crews working to tear down the old Davie Street parking deck. This process could take months. City leaders say the work should wrap up by Saturday, June 6. Downtown Greensboro Incorporated says a 7-story apartment complex will be built in its place. The new units will help the city reach its goal to build 10,000 homes by 2030. Retail and restaurant space will be on the ground floor. And that's not all. Another street will remain shut down in Greensboro for months for a storm culvert replacement project. Voss Avenue is now closed from Summit to Cody Avenue in the northeast part of the city. It is not expected to reopen until mid-July. Here's meteorologist Ed Matthews with a check of the forecast. What are we doing inside? We need to be outdoors.
We need to take this show on the road for sure. It's going to be a beautiful day. We're starting out with extra clouds, and we've had a few spritz and sprinkles this morning, but once they move out, we're going to see some sunshine on our way to about 81 today. I think we'll set a new record high, our standing record 78, mild low 60s tonight, mid 80s tomorrow. A strong cold front could bring some heavy downpours and some thunder and lightning and gusty winds during the morning commute. Once that moves on out, we'll see dry weather for Friday and the weekend.
Good morning and thanks so much for joining us. You're watching WFMY News 2 Mornings. It is now 7:30 on this Tuesday. I'm Lauren Coleman. Lots to get into, but first, let's get a check of the forecast with meteorologist Ed Matthews. I was just saying a few seconds ago, we got to take this show on the road. It's beautiful outside. We should be outdoors.
Yeah, if not taking the show on the road, at least taking time out to have lunch outdoors today. That would be great. At lunchtime, we'll be in the mid-70s on our way to the lower 80s today. Now, early this morning, we've got some extra clouds, and the radar is showing a little precipitation. This is really nothing more than a few sprinkles, maybe an isolated shower moving pretty quickly through the area. Will be east of our area, probably by around 9 o'clock this morning. Again, nothing significant at all on the radar. radar. But we do have a lot of clouds around early, but we'll see more sunshine through the day. Temperature at 50 in Mount Airy, 57 in Winston-Salem. We're at 55 in Greensboro and Lexington, and 53 the current temperature in Burlington. So a stray shower for another hour or two, and then the sun comes out. It's going to be a great day. Standing record again is 78, and we're on our way to about 81, and believe it or not, even warmer tomorrow. How about some mid-80s? We'll talk about that in our next rain chance coming up in just a minute.
All right, here's a live look at our roadways. We're starting out in Greensboro, I-40 west at Wendover, exit 214, where traffic is moving smoothly. It looks like the camera operator has it more towards the grass there, but we can see the roadway. It's moving pretty good at this time. As we take a look across the Triad, we are tracking several accidents at this time. They just keep populating on the map here. We're keeping our eye on this crash over on Forsyth on US 52. Between South Main Street and Clemensville Road, causing some moderate delays there heading northbound. So make sure that you head out earlier. Consider taking 109 or 150 as your alternate route. They do run parallel. All right, right now the road is closed due to an accident on Sawyersville on US 64 eastbound westbound between Sawyersville Road and Spencer Meadow Road. No major delays to report there. And then we're keeping our eye on this accident on Nowell on I-85 at Maple Avenue. No major delays. Stick with us. We'll be breaking down some of those other accidents. So drive with some extra caution. Looks like it's getting a little spicy on the roadways. President Trump says the war with Iran could come to a close soon. However, he's also issuing a threat Iran could be hit 20 times harder if it stops the flow of oil in the region. Effects on oil markets from the conflict are causing pain at the gas pump for Americans. This all comes as the body of the 7th U.S. service member killed in the war returned home to soil, American soil. Jared Hill has the story.
New video released by the Pentagon overnight shows U.S. strikes destroying Iranian missile launchers.
Everything they have is gone.
As President Trump signaled that the war on Iran is winding down, telling CBS News in a phone interview, quote, "The war is very complete."
It's going to be ended soon, and if it starts up again, they'll be hit even harder.
The president doubled down on that last threat on social media overnight, warning death, fire, and fury will rain upon Iran if they do anything to stop the flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz. The waterway through which about 20% of the world oil travels has been effectively closed since the strikes began, sparking wild swings in global oil markets and sending gas prices in the U.S. up nearly 50 cents since last week.
They're just so high, you know. Sometimes you have to choose between gas and other things that you really need.
President Trump is also voicing disappointment over Iran's new supreme leader, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, son of the former supreme leader killed in the first day of the strikes.
We think they should put a president in, or the head of the country in, that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change.
As deadly U.S. and Israeli attacks continue, Iran's retaliation relentless, launching missile and drone strikes on Israel and U.S. targets in nearby countries. Late Monday, Vice President J.D. Vance attended the dignified transfer of a 7th U.S. service member. Army Sergeant Benjamin Pennington, the 26-year-old, died from injuries sustained in a March 1st Iranian attack on an airbase in Saudi Arabia. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Monday, President Trump again weighed in on the bombing of a girls' school in Tehran that killed 168 people, including many children. He said other nations or Iran could be responsible for the deadly strike. Sources tell CBS News a preliminary assessment suggests the U.S. was likely responsible, though it was not intentional. The White House says investigation is ongoing. As we've mentioned, gas prices are surging as the conflict in the Middle East enters a second week, and most stations are well over $3. It isn't clear when prices will go back down. According to AAA, the average price in Greensboro is $3.31 per gallon. Both Winston-Salem and Burlington are sitting at around $3.32 per gallon, and Asheville is sitting at $3.18 per gallon right now. Remember, you can always track the latest gas prices and find the cheapest stations to fill up at our website. Just hit the weather tab and click gas prices. The triad is not exempt from these impacts to gas and possibly the housing market. This morning, we are taking a look at how the war could impact realtors, developers, as well as those looking to buy or sell a home. We spoke with Bill Warmuth, the president of Greensboro Retailers Association. He says for the first time in 3 years, the interest rates dropped below 6%. It's now around 6.3% for a 30-year fixed rate. He shares the median price of homes all depends on what a buyer is looking for, location nearby schools, and planned floor plans. The most popular homes on the market are what Warmuth says are considered entry level, ranging between $250,000 to $500,000. If you're concerned about interest rates moving, he advises locking in rates as much as you can now.
If you haven't already secured the services of a really accomplished realtor in your area, if you're a buyer, go ahead and get pre-approved or pre-qualified. Weigh all the different housing options. You may have your price point may change, or even the type property. If you're not going for single family, it may be a multifamily. But go into the purchase well armed and well informed, so you can make a decision based on fact, not emotion or worry.
Warmuth says the triad is well positioned right now, and the growth coming into our area creates stability in a time of uncertainty. He says it's a waiting game, and the hope is that the war will resolve itself quickly. Governor Josh Stein is calling on the General Assembly to fast track what he's calling a critical needs budget. State lawmakers have yet to pass a full budget, even though they were supposed to pass a new one last summer. The $1.4 billion proposal includes fully funding Medicaid and pay raises for teachers, police officers, and state employees.
If we do not fully fund Medicaid well before the end of the fiscal year, health care for millions of North Carolinians will be in jeopardy and our entire health care system weakened. Medicaid is a lifeline for so many of our neighbors: children, expectant mothers, seniors, people with disabilities, and working families.
It is not clear whether lawmakers will move on the Democratic governor's proposal, considering Republicans hold a majority in the House and Senate. Also developing tonight, State Attorney General Jeff Jackson is upset after the U.S. Department of Justice settled with Ticketmaster and parent company Live Nation. The deal will ultimately cap ticketing service fees at 15%, but Jackson thinks that isn't enough. He and a group of other AGs are requesting a mistrial. The Guilford County Health Department is expanding access to measles vaccinations following its outbreak in South Carolina. It's hosting an extended hour clinic today at the Leonard Community Rec Center from 4 to 7 p.m. We've got more information about all 9 upcoming clinics up on our website. A federal report says it's still unclear whether cancer cases linked to a building at North Carolina State University are tied to contamination there. The review from the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health looked at exposure to PCBs inside Poe Hall, which has been closed since late 2023. Investigators say employees may have been exposed to the chemicals in the air and on the surfaces, but data gaps make it difficult to determine if those levels could cause cancer. The report did find melanoma cases among employees were about twice what was expected, but says more research would be needed to determine any direct link. You don't need me to tell you weight loss drugs are all the rage right now. Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, they're all approved to treat diabetes and obesity. But a recent analysis found their impacts might go well beyond challenging health incomes, and they could also be changing the broader economy.
Here we got a vaca frita.
Cuban classics with a twist.
Similar ingredients, different portion.
Inside the kitchen at Cuba Libre, Chef Angel Roca preparing meals for a GLP-1 specific menu.
Keeping a good amount of protein, 25 to 30 grams per portion. Reduce by 40% the rice and beans and adding some fiber.
Special selections that launched last year after co-founder Barry Guten spoke with customers and friends who were on the popular weight loss drugs.
They each told me a story about how hard it is to order in a restaurant, how they have to order, how they have to eat, and we learned a lot that day.
It's not just the food industry adapting to meet the needs of customers turning to these medications.
There's also ripple effects on many other categories of spend that these drugs are causing. This is one of the most significant consumer adoption trends we have seen in a really long time.
A recent PwC analysis found GLP-1s are changing consumer behavior. How people eat, shop, work out, travel, even perceive themselves and make decisions is being reshaped.
They're thinking about health and wellness for their whole household differently after they go on the drug, and they're purchasing differently for everyone in the household.
PwC's Ali Furman says these ripple effects across industries will only grow as these medications become more accessible.
We're just starting to see the full breadth of implications that these weight loss drugs could have on consumption, consumer spending, and just overall society.
New prescriptions for ADHD medications have more than doubled since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. A study in Canada found the biggest increase in ADHD medications is among people ages 18 to 24. The study's author says the post-pandemic increase in prescriptions could be due to greater awareness of adult ADHD and improved access to care. A daily multivitamin can help slow biological aging. Researchers at Mass General Brigham study found older adults who took a daily vitamin biologically aged about 4 months slower than people who didn't. Biological aging is a measure of how our physical and cognitive function hold up as we get older and can even indicate how long we live. We're not quite done with the cold weather here in the Triad just yet, but coming up, why you may want to leave home a bit early to get where you need to go on Thursday. The warm weather has been welcome for many, but it's not here to stay for good. Our team of meteorologists are tracking a cold front that could also make your commute Thursday morning pretty nasty. WFMY News 2's chief meteorologist Tim Buckley breaks it all down.
I want to talk a little bit about the pollen levels, Tim. You and I are probably like the same. You know, we have allergies. They're crazy high right now. And today I noticed something in our pollen count, at least down in Charlotte. Pine started showing up, which now pine is not one of those ones, right, where nobody's really allergic to pine. It's so big. But that's usually something we don't see really starting to get in the top 3 until like April. So to me, that was kind of striking that was showing up in our pollen count already. Tells me 2 things. One, pine might be going crazy here, but the southwest winds might be blowing Georgia pine up into the Carolinas.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. I hadn't thought about it like that. I did see our buddy Scotty down in Myrtle, right? He snapped a photo of some of the pollen collecting in the puddles down there, and it was that yellowish pine pollen. So it's certainly going pretty strongly in Myrtle, which is obviously a different climate than us, but it shows that it is kind of getting going. For us up in the Winston-Salem collection site, they did notice 20% pine pollen in the air today, which is kind of notable as well. So maybe it is getting floated in from elsewhere.
And good morning, Piedmont Triad. The time is 7:45. What do you say we set a new record high today? I think we're going to do it. Current record 78, and we're forecasting low, maybe even some mid-80s in a few spots. If not the mid-80s today, we have every opportunity to get to 84, 85 tomorrow. But I think around 82, 83 for the high today. Warm front lifting north of the area. High pressures offshore giving us a light southwesterly wind. That combined with the sunshine is going to give us a couple of really nice days. But changes are coming for Thursday morning. We need to keep an eye on Thursday morning. A strong cold front heads our way. Now, Wednesday's going to be dry, but we could easily have 30, 35 mile per hour wind gusts out ahead of this approaching cold front, and even gusty winds on Thursday morning. And also some heavy downpours as the front moves through, and it'll be moving through the area by midday. So out ahead of it, we're likely going to have some heavy downpours during the morning commute. And again, maybe a little thunder and lightning mixed in. This will track on east of our area later Thursday afternoon. And once it moves east of our area, some beautiful weather for Friday and right on through Saturday and Sunday. And then our next system will head our way and bring a chance of rain as we go into Monday. This one's a little bit different. We're going to get some rain showers after a dry weekend, rain showers on Monday. But once this system moves through, the floodgates are going to be open for some very cold air to move into the Piedmont. Some cold air that we haven't seen for several weeks. And I think by, around St. Patrick's Day, Tuesday the 17th, we could have morning temperatures that will dip down into the 20s. And we look at our extended temperature outlook, and this goes from the 16th until the 20th, and forecasting the likelihood of below normal temperatures over much of the eastern part of the United States. Not the case today. We're going to be well above, partly sunny and 81. Tonight, it'll be mainly clear, quite warm, only dropping into the lower 60s tonight. We're up to about 84 tomorrow. Those winds will pick up, especially in the afternoon on Wednesday. And then, of course, our weather impact alert for Thursday morning. It's going to be a messy morning commute, some standing water, gusty winds, maybe some thunder and lightning. But that'll move on out. Thursday afternoon, we see improvements. A little cooler Friday around 60, but we warm back into the low 70s for a beautiful weekend.
Several local partners are preparing to make a major sports announcement tied to the summer of 2026. The Greensboro Sports Foundation, Greensboro Area Convention, and Visitors Bureau, the City of Greensboro, and UNCG will host a special event today to share details of the International Sports Development. The announcement will take place at the Fleming Gymnasium on UNCG campus. A couple of Triad basketball programs already punched their ticket to the big dance. High Point men's and women's basketball did it by winning the Big South Conference title over the weekend. They'll find out when, where, and who they will be playing in the first round this Sunday. Winston-Salem State University women's basketball is also going dancing in the D2 tournament. The bracket places the Rams as a 3 seed in the Atlantic Division. They'll face Glenville in the first round on tomorrow. That game tips off at 7 p.m. So when can you catch your favorite ACC team in action? For Wake Forest, the wait is short. They tip off today against Virginia Tech. NC State will tip off at noon tomorrow against the winner of Stanford and Pitt. North Carolina and Duke will make their first appearance in the quarterfinal round on Thursday. UNC will face either Clemson, Virginia Tech, or Wake, and Duke will face the winner of Florida State and Cal. Stay with us on WFMY News 2 as we will be in Charlotte all week bringing you the latest information from the tournament. UNCG announced Monday they may have fired the head men's basketball coach Mike Jones after 5 seasons with the Spartans. In his tenure as head coach, Jones posted a 93-69 record, winning over 60% of the conference matchups. UNCG went 15-19 this year, losing in the third round of the so-called conference tournament last night. Athletic director Brian Mackin says a national search has begun for the Spartans' next head coach.
And good morning, Piedmont Triad. Low temperatures this morning, not very low at all. As a matter of fact, I'd call it a mild morning. What's our normal low? 38. We're a great distance from that this morning. Take a look at these unofficial morning lows. Few of our communities near the Virginia border dipping into the upper 40s, but most locations into the low and mid 50s. 52 the low Winston-Salem, 54 at High Point in Greensboro, Burlington down to 46, 51 in Asheboro, and 50 over at Lexington. Got some extra clouds this morning. We've had a few sprinkles and isolated showers, but they're moving to the east pretty quickly, and we'll see at least some partial clearing for some sunshine today. And boy, once that sun comes out, we're going to warm it up for you. On our way to about 81, 82. Again, our standing record is 78. I think a brand new record in the books later today.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our Triad traffic. We are keeping our eye on this crash over on Knollwood on I-85 eastbound at Maple Avenue. No major delays to report there. So let's go ahead and take a look at some drive times. Hopefully even Winston headed into Greensboro. If you're hopping on 421 East, we're looking at a 25-minute commute. Those taking I-40 East, also 25 minutes. Traffic at around 60 miles per hour. That is a look at your Triad traffic. I'm Lauren Coleman with a check of the day's top stories. Meantime, the Randolph County School Board heard opinions about the potential closure of Uwharrie Ridge 612. The district says closing the school at the end of the school year would save more than $1 million. District leaders say enrollment is declining, and district leaders also blame academic performance for the closure. A report showed the school has repeatedly been considering low performance, and the board will decide whether to close Uwharrie Ridge next week. The Greensboro Fire Department plans to expand as the city grows. In its annual report, the department says it hopes to add 11 new fire stations by 2040 and has already secured land for 5. The report also highlights its response to Helene, deploying 61 firefighters to western North Carolina for search and rescue, building inspections, and emergency communications. You can read the full report on our website, WFMYnews2.com. The Guilford County Health Department is expanding access to measles vaccinations following the outbreak in South Carolina. It's hosting an extended hour clinic today at the Leonard Community Rec Center from 4 to 7. Here's meteorologist Ed Matthews with a check of the forecast. Another beautiful day on tap.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. More warm weather for the Piedmont. Yeah, temperatures today into the low 80s, enough to set a new record high. Mid 80s tomorrow. Now, with the approach of a cold front, winds will be gusty tomorrow, maybe a 30-mile-per-hour wind gust. Weather impact alert for Thursday morning as a strong cold front moves through. Some heavy downpours, some gusty winds, maybe some thunder and lightning. After that, Friday and the weekend look fantastic. Yeah, Saturday 70, low 70s on Sunday.
Good morning and welcome back to WFMY News 2 Mornings. This is our 8 o'clock hour streaming live on WFMY Plus. I'm Megan Malaris.
And I'm Lauren Coleman. Lots of headlines to get into. But first, let's go ahead and get a check of the forecast with meteorologist Claire Fry. We're all smiles today because this weather is absolutely beautiful.
It is certainly beautiful. We're on definitely on track to beat the record of 78 set for the day today. We're likely going to be in the lower 80s as we step into this afternoon. Currently, though, a little bit of a dreary start this Tuesday morning after 8 o'clock. A couple of isolated sprinkles right now across the triad. Again, not everybody's seeing them, but just a couple of isolated showers really coming down a little bit more moderately over in Caswell County, over Yanceyville, Top Knot, into Leesburg and into Blackwell as well. Current conditions currently in the 50s for the most part, 55 in Lexington, 56 in Winston-Salem. You can see that sunshine trying to get through and that scattered shower over there on the left side of your screen in the upper 50s right now in Greensboro. This afternoon, lower 80s, sunny and also mild across the area. Again, the record to beat is 78, and that was set 10 years ago, if you can believe this was 10 years ago, 2016. A look at the radar over the next several hours. Nice and mainly dry for us as we step into the night tonight. Going to be in the 60s. Tomorrow, low to mid 80s, and that's ahead of our cold front, likely going to be bringing in scattered showers and also some thunderstorms into Thursday morning. Going to be out of our hair as we step into the afternoon and evening. We'll talk a little bit more about why it is now a weather impact alert for Thursday morning in your full forecast. And a check on Triad traffic this morning. Here's a look off of I-40 West, right near Wendover. Things looking nice and smooth. A lot of people getting out and about, but we have seen numerous accidents over the last hour or so as more and more people have gotten out on the roadways. Roads a little bit slick in some spots where some of those isolated showers are. Still have that accident in Forsyth on US 52, I-285 northbound between exit 103 and 105. Please be careful when heading that direction. And another accident over toward Asheboro in Sawyerville on US 64. We're actually on the way to an accident in Alamance County. We're sending a crew over there. We're going to have more details on what exactly happened coming up.
Drivers in Greensboro, it looks like we're having some technical difficulties. Let's see if we can recenter and let's go ahead. Oh, here we go. Drivers in Greensboro should plan for delays today along Battleground Avenue from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Crews will close the center lane in the 2300 block while work is underway, reducing traffic to one lane in each direction through the work zone. City officials say the schedule could change depending on weather or operational needs. Drivers can find updates and sign up for alerts about street projects on the City of Greensboro's website.
All right, we're staying on top of a developing story today, a growing memorial outside of the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office where people have laid flowers and notes to a fallen Forsyth County deputy. This as someone now faces second-degree murder charges in his death. All right, we are going to come back to that story right now. We're going to get to a CBS News special report. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is giving an update live on Iran.
Your guys, our guys. Through their terrorist proxies and cowardly attacks, now they race toward a nuclear bomb to hold the world hostage. The Iranians have targeted and killed thousands of my American brothers. That race to a nuclear bomb, President Trump will never allow it. Not now, not ever, not on our watch. The mullahs are desperate and scrambling. Like the terrorist cowards they are, they fire missiles from schools and hospitals, deliberately targeting innocents, because they know their military is being systematically degraded and annihilated. Iran's neighbors, and in some cases, former allies in the Gulf, they've abandoned them. And their proxies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Hamas, either broken, ineffective, or on the sidelines. Iran stands alone, and they are badly losing. On day 10 of Operation Epic Fury, we are winning with an overwhelming and unrelenting focus on our objectives, which are the same as the day I gave my first briefing here on Operation Epic Fury. They're straightforward, and we are executing them with ruthless precision. One, destroy their missile stockpiles, their missile launchers, and their defense industrial base. Missiles and their ability to make them. Two, destroy their navy. And three, permanently deny Iran nuclear weapons forever. It's a laser-focused, maximum authority mission delivered with overwhelming and unrelenting precision. No hesitation, no half measures. As President Trump declared yesterday, we're crushing the enemy in an overwhelming display of technical skill and military force. We will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated. But we do so on our timeline and at our choosing. For example, today will be yet again our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes. Intelligence more refined and better than ever. So that's on one hand. On the other hand, the last 24 hours have seen Iran fire the lowest number of missiles they've been capable of firing yet. Just the bifurcation, just the trend lines that we talked about on our first briefing. You see, this is not 2003. This is not endless nation building under those types of quagmires we saw under Bush or Obama. It's not even close. Our generation of soldier will not let that happen again, and nor will this president, who very clearly ran against those kinds of never-ending, nebulously scoped missions. Those days are dead. Instead, we're winning decisively with brutal efficiency, total air dominance, and an unbreakable will to accomplish the president's objectives on our timeline. We stay locked on the target because here at the Department of War, that's our job. Now, the chairman and I, having just returned from Dover last night, our troops and their families and the enormous sacrifice that they make is certainly heavy on my mind. So I'll close with scripture, drawing strength from Psalm 144. Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. He is my loving God and my fortress, my stronghold and my deliverer, my shield, in whom I take refuge. May the Lord grant unyielding strength and refuge to our warriors, unbreakable protection to them and our homeland, and total victory over those who seek to harm them. And amen. God bless our troops and this mission. Mr. Chairman, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. I'm here today to continue the updates to the American people and to those in the room on Operation Epic Fury. First, let me start with honoring our fallen. As the Secretary said, on Saturday and again last night at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware, our nation's leaders honored our returning fallen as they arrived home for their final time. Last week, I shared a few of the names, and today I want to share the rest. Major Jeffrey O'Brien and Chief Warrant Officer 3 Robert Marzan were the final two fallen to return home and members of the U.S. Army Reserve's 103rd Sustainment Command out of Des Moines, Iowa. Last night, as the news has been reporting, we honored the return of Staff Sergeant Benjamin Pennington of the U.S. Army's 1st Space Brigade from Fort Carson, Colorado. When I met Ben's family last night, his mom, his dad, and his sister, they showed me a picture, a drawing that Ben had made when he was in kindergarten. It was clear all the way back then that Ben wanted to do one thing in his life, and he wanted to serve his country and be a soldier. And to the Penningtons, just know how Ben was absolutely a great one. And finally, Major Sorfleet Davies, who returned home this weekend after sadly passing away from a medical condition while on duty in Kuwait. We welcome him home as well and mourn with his family. To the families and the families of all of our fallen, we share in your profound grief. The Joint Force remains eternally grateful for your sacrifice and the gift of a great example that your service members have given all of us. I want you to know that their names will never be forgotten, and you and your family are part of our Joint Force family forever. Let me talk a little bit about the progress thus far, acknowledging that Admiral Cooper will likely continue to give updates from CENTCOM. As the Secretary said, we're in the 10th, moving into the 11th day of Operation Epic Fury. The Joint Force remains focused on 3 military objectives. Continue to destroy Iranian ballistic missiles and drone capability in order to prevent attacks on the U.S. and others throughout the region. And this means attacking launch sites, command and control nodes, stockpiles before they can threaten our personnel, our facilities, and our partners. Second, we continue to strike the Iranian Navy and their capabilities in order to do things like sustain movement through the Straits of Hormuz.
And third, we continue to start working on and going deeper into Iran's military and industrial base in order to prevent the regime from being able to attack Americans, our interests, and our partners for years to come and project power outside their borders. This means servicing production facilities, research and development sites, and infrastructure. Let me turn to the map. We're going to try digital today to prevent laser injury. Since our last update, CENTCOM continues to make progress across the southern flank. To date, they've struck more than 5,000 targets. U.S. Strategic Command bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound GPS-penetrating weapons on deeply buried missile launchers across the southern flank. We also have struck several one-way drone factories to get at the heart of their autonomous capability. And of course, alongside our regional partners along the southern flank, continue to execute intercepts against one-way attack drones using fighters and attack helicopters. Our strikes mean we've made significant progress in reducing the number of missile and drone attacks out of Iran. Ballistic missile attacks continue to trend downward, 90% from where they've started, and one-way attack drones have decreased 83% since the beginning of the operation. A testament to our air defenders and our air defense systems, and as I said, our partners in the region continue to do great work as well. Second, we're making substantial progress towards destroying the Navy. In the first 10 days of the conflict, we're more than 50 Iranian naval ships into the campaign using a combination of artillery, fighters, bombers, and sea-launched missiles. As Admiral Cooper noted last Thursday, we struck and sank an Iranian drone carrier ship, and U.S. CENTCOM continues today to hunt and strike mine-laying vessels and mine storage facilities. This work will continue. Third, against our objectives, we've begun to target Iran's military and industrial complex, again, focusing on centers of gravity to get upstream of the shooters out in the field in order to deny them the ability to continue to generate those one-way attack drones. Let me spend a minute talking about the joint force. Across the area of responsibility, this is gritty and tireless work, and I cannot begin to explain how incredibly proud I am of the extraordinary courage, tenacity, and grit and professionalism within the joint force. Last time I had a chance to talk about the Army's incredible logisticians who are out there sustaining the fight. Today I want to highlight a few groups of sailors. First, I want to thank the men and women of the Ford Carrier Strike Group and their families, and let all of them know how grateful I am for their leadership and service. The crews on board this strike group have already been endured months at sea only to get their deployment extended. These exceptional Americans, rogered up, all supported by their families, continue to stand the watch, taking the fight to the enemy over and over again, night after night. Aboard ships like the USS Ford and the Abraham Lincoln are a special group of sailors I want to highlight today. These are the men and women, the sailors up on the roof running operations on the flight deck. With an average age of the early 20s, these are the unsung heroes of naval aviation. These young sailors, known for wearing yellow shirts, are in charge of the catapults, taxiing jets around on the flight deck, shooting jets off the front end, and recovering jets off the back end. They are literally involved with every single movement on the roof on an aircraft carrier. They are the last ones that a naval aviator sees before getting shot off the front end, and the first one that a naval aviator sees after safely trapping on the back end. And just for a minute, imagine you're standing on that aircraft carrier flight deck. There's 30 knots of wind in your face. The deck is slippery, covered in grease. It's noisy. There are propellers spinning. There's jet blast everywhere. The helicopters are running. Your head is on a swivel, and you're trying to direct a multi-million-dollar fighter into a 1-foot square box so that those naval aviators can be shot off into the black of night to go do America's work. Those jets are fully loaded with missiles and bombs, and they are a world-class team combined with the naval aviation. and the aviators in those jets. This beautiful symphony of American spirit is the definition of perfectly organized chaos. And these crews do it every single time the carrier is at work. Oh, by the way, in the middle of the night and oftentimes in the pouring rain. These are dedicated young people who take the road less traveled to serve their great nation, doing the deeds that we need them to do. America's enlisted force is the pride of every nation's military, certainly ours, and the envy of every other one as well. Each and every one of them out there across the joint force are extraordinary, and in particular today I want to highlight the yellow shirts. Ladies and gentlemen, our work continues. It'll continue to be difficult. I ask every American to keep our deployed force and their families in our thoughts. Combat deployments can be tough on the force and the families, and it's important that we continue to remember that. I remain deeply humbled by the 2.8 million members of the Joint Force, and I'll end where I started, and that's remembering our fallen and their families whose sacrifice will be felt forever. And with that, I'll take some questions with the Secretary.
A beautiful symphony of American spirit. Well said, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, sir.
And I will just note that no other country in the world is capable of executing what the chairman just described, day after day, night after night, unrelenting. Well said. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Alexandra Ingersoll, One America News. You talked.
All right, you have been watching a CBS News special report with Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and General Kane, both giving an update on the ongoing war with Iran. They indicated that this war is very difficult and the difficulties will continue, but there has been substantial progress made on the U.S. side with more than 50 ships destroyed in Iran, multiple terrorists taken out, and obviously a regime change, which the Trump administration is still evaluating. So we expect continued issues here at home, of course, with gas, the housing market, and travel. And we'll stay on top of that. But President Trump said he does foresee an end to the war in the near future. He tweeted that on X last night, but it's going to take some cooperation from the other side. All right, it is 8:18. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Good Tuesday morning to you. The time is 8:20. We're in for another very warm day today, especially by March standards. Going to be in the lower 80s. The record that we're likely going to beat, 78, set back in 2016. Wednesday closing in on another record, 86, set back in 1967. Temperatures right now pretty mild, at least for this time of year. We're in the 50s, 57 in Greensboro with a couple of isolated sprinkles right now as this outflow boundary moves through the area. Nothing in comparison to what we're going to see into the day Thursday, likely in the morning with a strong cold front sweeping through the area. Scattered showers, maybe even a couple of storms too. Heavy rain with some gusts in the 20 to 35 mile per hour range. What I need you to do, watch the forecast and take it easy on the roadways. Make sure you're nice and slow. Until then, high pressure offshore is going to keep ushering in southerly breezes. Warm for our area. That air will be in the 80s today and also into the day tomorrow. That's ahead of a cold front that's going to start to sweep in across the southeast, bringing in showers and thunderstorm chances into early on Thursday, likely going to be out of our hair by around lunchtime on Thursday by between around 12 and 2 p.m. pushing east. A look at what you can expect throughout the day today. Mainly dry tonight, likely going to stay in the 60s. Tomorrow, low to mid 80s. That's all ahead of that front that's going to be approaching into Thursday morning, likely bringing those showers and those thunderstorms. Make sure you continue to stay updated with us as we fine tune the forecast these next couple of days with that weather impact alert Thursday morning. Going to be much cooler Thursday and Friday in the lower 60s, warming back up for the weekend.
Let's get into our headlines here today. 20-year-old Brian Castillo will be back in court, accused of driving more than 100 miles an hour in the crash that killed a Forsyth County deputy, Caleb Mitchell. We'll get back to that story in just a moment. We're having a few technical difficulties here, so we're going to regroup and reset. And producers, let's just come back on with the correct lineup in just a few minutes. All right, looks like we're still having persistent technical difficulties. I believe we are back on track now. So let's just go ahead with this. U.S. airlines are preparing for a record number of passengers for spring break. A trade group forecasting more than 170 million people will fly. That's up 4% from last year. Millions are heading to Florida. Miami Beach highlighting its many events in its spring break ad, including marathons, high-intensity workouts, and yoga. Hertz, the car rental company, released its list of top 10 cities for spring break. Orlando tops the list, while Miami came in at number 8. The partial government shutdown is having a growing effect on travelers just as spring breaks get going. Travelers are waiting in long lines to get past security in several cities. This week, TSA officers are going to miss their first full paychecks because of the ongoing shutdown. They've been working without pay since February 14th. Some TSA workers are calling in sick. Several airports are seeing longer than normal times because of worker shortages, and now are warning flyers to get there at least 3 hours early. Look at that. Much of the Department of Homeland Security is not funded because of the stalemate between congressional Democrats and the White House over enforcement immigration. Donut lovers can grab a bit of luck at Krispy Kreme starting today. The chain has 4 St. Patrick's Day themed donuts available for a limited time. On March 16th and 17th, Krispy Kreme is bringing back its green original glazed donuts. Customers who wear green at the store can get one for free or buy a dozen for $12. There is also a chance to strike gold. 4,000 randomly selected customers could win a pass for free original glazed donuts for a year. Good morning, I'm Megan Maleras. Let's take a look at some stories making local headlines if you're just now joining us. Today, 20-year-old Brian Castillo will be back in court, accused of driving more than 100 miles an hour, causing the crash that killed Forsyth County Deputy Caleb Mitchell this weekend. He's in jail without bond, facing a second-degree murder charge. Mitchell was 24 when he died in that crash. He leaves behind a pregnant wife and their 2-year-old son. This morning, police are investigating a shooting that killed a 14-year-old girl in Graham this weekend. Police responded to Burton Street just before 7 Saturday night. Officers say they think another child is responsible. but are not releasing the identities of anyone involved just yet. It's unclear whether police will file charges. Several agencies collaborated to make a major drug bust in Guilford County. Guadalupe Rodriguez is accused of having 8 kilos of cocaine with a street value of up to $1 million. He faces several charges and is in jail on $1 million bond. The Guilford County Narcotics Task Force made the bust. Let's look at our forecast now with meteorologist Ed Matthews. A nice day again today.
Yeah, definitely so. I'm saying lunch hour outdoors would be a great idea. Starting out with some extra clouds this morning. We've had a few sprinkles. That'll move out pretty quickly over the next hour or so. And we'll see a mix of sun and clouds. About 81 today. Standing record is at 78. So a new record, I think, today. Mid-80s tomorrow. Showers and storms and some heavy downpours Thursday morning during the morning commute as a cold front moves through the area. Once that passes, we've got great weather for Friday. A little cooler around 60. We warm right back to 70 on Saturday, low 70s on Sunday.
Good morning. Welcome back to WFMY News 2 Mornings. It's now 8:30 here. I'm Megan Malaris. Let's take a look at our forecast with meteorologist Claire Fry. Another beautiful day. Could we set another record?
I think we definitely could. The record to beat is 78, and I have us getting into the lower 80s as we step into this afternoon. This morning, a couple of clouds and even a couple of isolated sprinkles so far, but likely going to be moving out here within the next hour or so. A closer look here at the radar. We've been kind of tracking these isolated showers showers across the area, really coming down a little bit more steadily right now in Alamance as well as in Caswell counties. Current conditions, sun starting to come out, especially in counties west of us towards Statesville, Wilkesboro. We're currently in the mid to upper 50s. Extra clouds right now in Greensboro, but a beautiful morning, 57 right now in downtown Greensboro. This afternoon, lower 80s, sunny and mild too. Again, the record to beat is 78. Our current forecast is 81. That record was set back 10 years ago, if you can believe it, in 2016. Into the night tonight, back into the 60s, back tomorrow in the low to mid 80s. We're certainly going to be warming up here over the next day or two with this cold front, likely bringing in some big changes as we step into Thursday morning. Likely going to be bringing in scattered showers and storms and also gusty winds, which is why we have a weather impact alert for Thursday morning for your work commute. Coming up, we'll nail down those details for you and talk a little bit more about it. And checking in on Triad traffic this morning, a lot more people out and about here just after 8:30 off of I-40 West near Windover. A lot of accidents so far this morning. Might be due to some of those sprinkles across the area. Still have that accident in Forsyth on US 52 and I-285 northbound. This is between exit 103 and exit 105. Looks like the congestion there has cleared. Of course, we're still working to get details on this accident in Alamance County. This is right at Maple Avenue on exit 145. And another new accident right where we're seeing some of those sprinkles in Greensboro on North Church Street at Highway 150. Please be extra careful while you're out and about. I'll leave you with some drive times. Winston-Salem to Greensboro took you 22 minutes on I-40 East, an extra 2 minutes on 421 East, and that's a look at your Triad traffic.
President Trump says the war with Iran could come to a close soon. We just heard from Secretary Pete Hegseth in a news conference on CBS saying that he believes the U.S. is making great progress destroying targets in Iran. The president is issuing a threat. Iran could be hit 20 times harder if it stops the flow of oil. Effects of oil markets from the conflict are causing pain at the pump for Americans. This all comes as the body of the 7th U.S. service member killed in the war returned home to American soil. Jared Hill has more.
New video released by the Pentagon overnight shows U.S. strikes destroying Iranian missile launchers.
Everything they have is gone.
As President Trump signaled that the war on Iran is winding down, telling CBS News in a phone interview, quote, "The war is very complete."
It's going to be ended soon, and if it starts up again, they'll be hit even harder.
The president doubled down on that last threat on social media overnight, warning death, fire, and fury will rain upon Iran if they do anything to stop the flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz. The waterway through which about 20% of the world oil travels has been effectively closed since the strikes began, sparking wild swings in global oil markets and sending gas prices in the U.S. up nearly 50 cents since last week.
They're just so high, you know. Sometimes you have to choose between gas and other things that you really need.
President Trump is also voicing disappointment over Iran's new supreme leader, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, son of the former supreme leader killed in the first day of the strikes.
We think they should put a president in or the head of the country in that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change.
As deadly U.S. and Israeli attacks continue, Iran's retaliation relentless, launching missile and drone strikes on Israel and U.S. targets in nearby countries. Late Monday, Vice President J.D. Vance attended the dignified transfer of a 7th U.S. service member, Army Sergeant Benjamin Pennington. The 26-year-old died from injuries sustained in a March 1st Iranian attack on an airbase in Saudi Arabia. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Monday, Trump weighed in again on the bombing of a girls' school in Tehran that killed 168 people, including many children. He said other nations or Iran could be responsible for the strike, but sources tell CBS News a preliminary assessment suggests the U.S. was likely responsible, though it was not intentional. The White House said an investigation is ongoing. As we mentioned, gas prices are surging as the conflict enters its second week. I filled up for more than $50 a tank yesterday. Most stations are well over $3. It's unclear when prices will go down. AAA said the average price in Greensboro as of Monday was $3.31. Both Winston-Salem and Burlington are at $3.32 per gallon, and Asheville is at $3.18. Remember, you can track the cheapest gas prices in the triad right on WFMYnews2.com. I use this tool quite frequently. You go to the weather page and click on the gas prices tab. Well, the housing market could soon take a hit as well. Right now, we're looking at how the war could affect realtors, developers, and those looking to buy or sell homes. We spoke with Bill Wormuth, the president of the Greensboro Realtors Association, who said for the first time in 3 years, interest rates dropped below 6%. They are now 6.3% for a 30-year fixed. He said the median price of homes depends on what a buyer is looking for: location, schools, and floor plans. The most popular homes on the market are what Wormuth said are considered entry level, ranging between $250,000 to $500,000. If you're concerned about interest rates, he advises locking in rates as much as possible right now.
If you haven't already secured the services of a really accomplished realtor in your area, if you're a buyer, go ahead and get pre-approved or pre-qualified. Weigh all the different housing options. You may have your price point may change, or even the type property. If you're not going for single family, it may be a multifamily. But go into the purchase well armed and well informed, so you can make a decision based on fact, not emotion or worry.
Wormuth said the triad is well positioned right now, and the growth coming to our area creates stability in a time of uncertainty. He said it's a waiting game, and the hope is for the war to resolve quickly. Governor Josh Stein is calling on the General Assembly to fast track what he is calling a critical needs budget. State lawmakers have yet to pass a full budget, even though they were supposed to do so last summer. The $1.4 billion proposal includes fully funding Medicaid and pay raises for teachers, police officers, and state employees.
If we do not fully fund Medicaid well before the end of the fiscal year, health care for millions of North Carolinians will be in jeopardy and our entire health care system weakened. Medicaid is a lifeline for so many of our neighbors: children, expectant mothers, seniors, people with disabilities, and working families.
Yeah, so a lot still to come when the legislature is back. It's unclear whether lawmakers will move on the proposal, considering Republicans hold a majority in both chambers. State Attorney General Jeff Jackson is upset after the U.S. Department of Justice settled with Ticketmaster and parent company Live Nation. The deal ultimately will cap ticketing service fees at 15%, but Jackson thinks that's not enough. He and a group of other AGs are requesting a mistrial. The Guilford County Department of Health and Human Services is expanding access to measles vaccinations following the outbreak in South Carolina. It's hosting an extended hour clinic today at Leonard Community Rec Center from 4 to 7. We have details about all 9 upcoming clinics on WFMYnews2.com. A federal report says it's still unclear whether cancer cases linked to a building at North Carolina State University are tied to contamination there. The review from the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health looked at exposure to PCBs inside Poe Hall, which has closed since late 2023. Investigators say employees might have been exposed to the chemicals in the air and on surfaces, but data gaps make it difficult to figure out if those levels caused cancer. The report did find melanoma cases among employees, or about twice as what was expected, but says more research would be necessary to figure out any direct link. A daily multivitamin can slow biological aging. Researchers at Mass General Brigham study found older adults who took a daily vitamin biologically aged about 4 months slower than those who did not. Biological aging is a measure of how our physical and cognitive functions hold up as we get older, and even can indicate how long we live. More people are being diagnosed with colon cancer lately. After the break, we talk with a doctor about how to keep yourself aware of what's going on in your body. Colon cancer is often thought of as something that affects older adults, but doctors say that's changing. More younger people are being diagnosed, sometimes with few warning signs. WFMY News 2's Chad Silber spoke with a physician at Cone Health Rockingham Gastroenterology, at South Main about what to know and how to get ahead of it.
Doc, thank you so much for being here today. So just at a very basic level, what is colorectal cancer?
Hey, Chad, thank you for having me here. So colon cancer is actually cancer of your large intestine. It develops from a small polyp and progresses.
And who is most at risk?
So, it's what we are talking today is very important. Colon cancer is actually the second most common cancer-related death in the United States. 1 in 24 men and 1 in 26 women will develop colon cancer in the United States. The risk factors vary, but anyone above the age of 45 is at risk. But you can divide the risk between genetics, meaning if someone family have colon cancer, they are more likely to develop colon cancer, which you cannot change. But there's environmental factors, meaning if they have they're obese, they smoke, they have diet high in red meat or processed food. Those are risk factors. But the good news is we can limit those risk factors, and screening can prevent colon cancer.
When it comes to screening, I've seen over the years how the guidelines have changed. Can you explain what they are now, what they used to be, and why they have changed?
Right. So colon cancer was a disease of old people, but it has now becoming a disease of younger patients. Last week, I did a colonoscopy and unfortunately found a patient who's age 35 to have colon cancer, which is very rare now. It's becoming common. And so previously it was age 50 to start colon cancer screening, but because of that data, which is very clear, that the data is in older patients, colon cancer is decreasing, and in younger patients, their colon cancer is increasing actually. So the age has decreased from age 50 to 45. So anyone age 45 should be screened for colon cancer.
Why is it that data is showing that it seems that younger people seem to be getting this?
So we don't exactly know, but it's postulated that has to do something maybe with our diet, being on high processed food, diet high in red meat, and also like environmental factors like being overweight, having sedentary lifestyle. So this is what's going on here with younger patients.
So 45 is the new suggestion. I'm 42, obviously a couple of years off from that. Is that something that you really should start thinking about ahead of time? I mean, how do you go about thinking about this process?
So what needs to be understood is that it's for average risk patients, it's at age 45. When you turn 45, you should talk to your family doctor or primary care that I should be screened for colon cancer. But if someone's family have history of colon cancer, that's a different scenario where it should be started early, at least age 40. So that's important to know family history. But if someone's family has, for example, someone's parents were diagnosed with colon cancer age 40, so they will be starting age 30, 10 years before their parents or siblings were diagnosed with colon cancer.
You had mentioned that you had found polyps in someone who was in their mid-30s. How do you even, thinking about someone who's under that 45 threshold, what do you do?
So, the screening guidelines are starting at age 45, but I am seeing polyps and even colon cancer in younger patients than that. So it's important to know that if anyone has any symptoms, for example, symptoms such as blood in the stool, you should not brush it away by saying, hey, it's my hemorrhoids. Or, anyone who has change in bowel habits. For example, if someone is regular and all of a sudden they are becoming more constipated, that's something to think about and talk to your doctor.
Switching gears, checking in on your forecast. About to be 8:47 this morning. A lot to talk about, but we'll start out with the likely record warmth coming in this afternoon. The record to beat is 78, set back in 2016. Right now, our forecast is 81. I think we'll definitely get to 78. Likely going to be in the lower 80s today. Middle 80s for Wednesday. Could get close to that record of 86. Set back in 1967. Temperatures right now, a mild start to the day today, 57 in Greensboro, 56 in Winston-Salem, 55 in Lexington and in Asheboro. We've had a couple of isolated showers that have started to dissipate across the area. Nothing in comparison to the strong cold front likely moving in on Thursday morning. Going to be bringing in heavy showers, maybe even a couple of storms too. Windy conditions as well, with gusts in the 20 to 35 mile per hour range. This is going to impact your work commute early on Thursday morning, which is why we want to go ahead and alert it, give you the early heads up. Watch the forecast. Make sure you also are keeping it nice and slow on Thursday morning. Give yourself some extra time on the way to work. Over the next few days, nice and warm thanks to high pressure offshore, ushering in southerly breezes, bringing in warmer air to the region. We'll be in the 80s today and into the day tomorrow. It's all ahead of our cold front that's going to start to drag in and across the southeast over the next couple of days, impacting us as we step into early on Thursday morning. Scattered showers with a couple of rumbles of thunder through around the morning hours, leaving our area and pushing east at around lunchtime. A closer look at the futurecast this afternoon, lower 80s as we step into tonight. Only going to fall down into the lower 60s. That's ahead of low to middle 80s as we step into this afternoon. We are going to be seeing extra clouds start to build in later on into Wednesday night. Thursday is when we start to see those showers and thunderstorms move in along that front into Thursday morning. Likely going to be out of our hair as we step into the afternoon. Future wind gusts in that 20 to 35 mile per hour range as we step into Wednesday. You'll start to see those really start to pick up, especially into Wednesday afternoon, between 30 to 35 miles per hour. Go ahead and secure any outdoor loose items. Severe storm risk well to the west of us for the day today, but notice stepping into the day on Wednesday, we'll be starting to track a little bit more of a local threat, primarily for counties and westernmost counties of the Piedmont. Again, isolated showers. Main threat's going to be those wind gusts and maybe even some isolated hail too. Big cool down coming in the lower 60s for Thursday and Friday. 70s are back for the weekend.
Hey everybody, here at ShopTVDeals.com, we love to bring you products that are going to make your life better, at least a little bit easier. We all go through major changes, right? Whether it's a kid leaving the house, or a loved one who's sick, or a loved one who's gone, and you need some help, you need some guidance. Well, this is exactly what these books provide. This is a simply stated series of books. You can buy them together or separately, but they walk you through major changes. Like if you're over 60 and have to join Medicare one day, this book right here, this whole packet here will walk you through the enrollment process and the different plans. Incredibly useful here. What if you're a family with a high school student who's getting ready to go to college? Another major life transition. I got 2 boys at home. This is going to be me soon. So whether it's scholarships or the enrollment or the calendar or the emotions of it all, this is so helpful. Also books about the empty nest for parents whose kids are already gone, or what it means dealing with someone who's in hospice or in the hospital dealing with an illness. And then right here, this book I love, When Life Happens. When my dad was sick before he passed a year ago, I wish I'd had this. It puts all of your personal information in one place so your family isn't scrounging around for all these million little things when it can all be right here. Like these little envelopes here, which contain, your personal financial information, your burial wishes, your medical and life insurance. Hugely useful here. Each of these books cost between $25 and $35 thanks to a 25% discount. Just scan that QR code or go to shoptvdeals.com.
One final check on your forecast. Going to be in the 80s today and tomorrow. Likely going to beat the old record high of 78 this afternoon, set back 10 years ago. If you could believe 2016 was 10 years ago. Sheesh. Low to mid 80s into the day on Wednesday. We have our weather impact alert Thursday morning with that cold front moving through. Scattered showers, maybe even a couple rumbles of thunder too. Getting out of here by around lunchtime. Much cooler for the day. 60s into Friday. Warming up again for the weekend. And one last check on Triad traffic this morning. Here's a look off of I-40 West right near Wendover. Roads are pretty crowded this morning, and there has been several accidents across the area, too. There was one here in Forsyth County that has since cleared. This was on US 52, so good news there. Not any congestion. Still continuing to track that one accident in Alamance County at Maple Avenue near exit 145. And another accident with some isolated sprinkles here. Accident in Greensboro on North Church Street at Highway 150. And that's a look at your Triad traffic.
Good morning, I'm Megan Maleros. Let's take a look at some stories making headlines on this Tuesday morning. We'll start with this. This week is critical in the tight state Senate race between Republicans Sam Page and Phil Berger. Page currently leads by 23 votes after last Friday's provisional ballot count. Thursday is the deadline for overseas military ballots, and counties will certify results the following day. If the margin stays under 1%, the trailing candidate can request a recount before the State Board of Elections certifies results March 25th. This morning, another Triad County is rolling out property reevaluations. Guilford County sent them a few weeks ago, as you know, and Davidson County is doing the same. Just like Guilford, commissioners in Davidson County must still set the tax rate, which could help offset the burden. The board will then make that determination in June. Instructions on how to appeal your property value are included in the assessment notice. Another reason people are upset about potential tax hikes are commissioners approved contracts for a $65 million sports complex. The complex in the Southmont area is set to have soccer and baseball fields and a water park. Let's look at our forecast now. Another very warm day. Could we hit another record, Ed?
I think it'll be pretty easy, actually. Our standing record's 78, and we're forecasting 81, 82. But after some morning clouds, we're going to see really a good bit of sunshine. That'll drive temperatures into the lower 80s. 62 for the low tonight. Mid-80s tomorrow as clouds build Wednesday afternoon. Our standing record tomorrow is 86. Some showers and thunderstorms and some heavy downpours for a weather impact alert Thursday morning. We'll dry it out for Friday and the weekend.
Guten Tag, ein, zwei. Good morning. 8:58.
Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1.
1 2 3 4 5.
Yeah, doing a mic check. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10.